Hello there. Today we are going to see how you as an individual can effectively manage your time at your workplace. So, let's get to it. People do spend a significant portion of their time at the workplace, be it working physically or remotely. In an average, around 7 to 8 hours are spent there, making it a very significant expenditure of your time. But are you actually doing the right things? And are you doing things right? Are you actually giving justice to the time you are actually spending there? Let's talk about it. Life as you know it is full of chaos and distractions along with all the other interesting things it offers. It's really an interesting journey and it boils down to what you actually do with the time you have. In workplace, let's see how people actually waste time. Meetings. Statistics show that around 5 hours and 3 minutes are spent on meetings every week on an average, and 4 hours and 15 minutes are spent just in preparing for those meetings, which adds up to more than one workday effectively. Which means that out of the 5 days you go to office, considering Saturday as a holiday, you do actual work only for 4 days. Now, add it up for the entire workforce and it will show you thousands of man hours which your organization is actually wasting when it could be really doing something meaningful. Rather, you could spend that time taking off, maybe relaxing back at home. Now, this is not to say that meetings are bad. You need to have quick stand up meetings to discuss the top priority issues which need synchronous communication and keep everything else asynchronous. For instance, a daily review meeting could be just about the progress on the previous day's work, agenda for today, and then set about planning for tomorrow. But it would be great if you could even do all this planning asynchronously. Now that technology has really evolved. Talking about the way to conduct meetings requires its own video. I will leave it at this for now. Bureaucracy. Every organization does have a hierarchy irrespective of whether they claim they have it or not. Because there needs to be someone who is actually responsible for taking the final decision and others who stand together with the decision and execute it to the best of their capability. Now, hierarchy is not bad. For all you know, defense, navy, aerospace, and all other organizations relies on this heavily. It's all about the right delegation, responsibility, and accountability. For instance, if you need to take an approval from the CEO or CTO for a laptop purchase, you will see mail threads going to and fro to the top level of leadership. I don't think that's a good use of that time. Neither is yours. Rather, that time can be actually spent doing productive work. Rather, if all that responsibility for granting the approval is given someone down the hierarchy level, then that's even better. You have quick turnaround times. You have to set goals for every team or individual and give them the full power to execute it rather than micromanaging them, which will just end up wasting the time along with having a bad experience. Unclear vision and outcome. When you know that a project is not going to work if executed in a certain way by a certain team, and you have all the data backing the claim, people still do it just because they want to maintain their honor because they started the initiative. Also, you spend a lot of time working on something assuming it's going to work without even knowing it. Rather, you have to be smart about it, do small proof of concepts, and then not stop there. Take the proof of concept to production if it has been successfully validated. If that proof of concept stays a proof of concept without maturing to the next level, even that is a waste of the time for your organization as well as for your team. Shifting roadmaps frequently. Companies do plan their roadmap, vision, goals, and objectives with due dates. But then an order comes up and the entire roadmap is either thrown away or shifts focus. Now I understand that in some cases that it is unavoidable and you have to manage with what you have. The situations do change. It is very important to make sure that you divide your roadmaps into small pieces so that you don't change the entire roadmap but rather a portion of it which is really needed. Or just pursue for opportunities keeping your roadmap in mind. Set the roadmaps only after you get the customer on board. This way, you know what the expectations are, when it is to be delivered, how to do it, who should do it, and now you can plan it well. But if you put someone to the task, don't try to shift his or her focus because that is going to waste a lot of his or her time. Working without purpose, motivation, and engagement. Now, this is the most critical of all things. If you are really working on an organization, make sure that you are doing it out of your passion and have all the motivation and engagement to do it. If not, your time is rather well spent on what you really want to do in life. Working on something without the purpose and motivation does not bring the best in you. In fact, it's very harmful for the organization as well, since it will gradually see the culture of negativity spreading all the way, and not just you are destroying your life, but you are destroying the organization as well. I understand you need money to survive and you are working there to make a living, but if you are not able to find a job somewhere you really like, or if you need a break, there are some ways to come around it too. Social networks and smartphones. Another way people keep getting distracted is through social networks and smartphones. I understand that people need personal time, but what they need to have is a real focus. Either people need to spend time chatting with a social network or work. Trying to do both at the same time doesn't work. You think that you are doing multitasking, but you are not. You are essentially not engaged in the work you do, lack the concentration that it ends up wasting a hell a lot of your time, along with things like watching out for notification bars, profile views, new likes, comments, and so on. Rather, have a time slot where you do just that and spend the rest of the time focused on work. Emails and collaboration. This is hard, especially in huge corporates and businesses where there is a huge email trail with 5 people in 2, 10 to 15 people in CC without any relation to it, and it ends up traveling to and fro without any direction. You don't get what is the expected outcome of the email trail, who should take the action, by when, and so on. Rather, it just spams your mailbox with a lot of notifications, and it also spends your time in clearing all the mailboxes. In fact, I got fed up at a point of time that I set an automated reply saying, "It will take time for me to respond and call my mobile for emergencies," and switched off all the email notifications in the app to minimize distractions. Rather, you should have some tool to actually help you out to make yourself productive. The tool does not matter as long as you make an effective use of it. Improper delegation of work. People just think that work can be shared randomly with any person in the team. No. Rather, you have to look at the strengths, weaknesses, interests, and then split it up. This way, there is no overload on anyone, and everyone likes the way they do work, and the work can be completed faster than before because people actually do the work they like. Multitasking. I used to think once upon a time that I could multitask, but the fact is that you are doing multiple tasks at the same time and you are doing none of them efficiently. What I do now is I open only the browser tabs and window I really am working on, and I close the rest of it. I set a Pomodoro and work on the things which are really important for the time I have. This way, I have a dedicated concentration on something for a good period of time, which is really important for getting things done the right way without wasting time. This is the same case in the workplace. Just put all your focus in one thing at a time and get it done. Workplace ambience and ecosystem. This also does contribute to the productivity of employees. Noisy and distracting workplaces can just lead up to a lot of chaos and chatter. Just assume that I have to do work with everyone talking, yelling, screaming around me, with distracting lighting all over the place. That's not going to add up any productivity, again ending up pulling a big chunk of your time. So what is not wasted time? You really need that lunch or break time, casual chat with co-workers every day. And this helps you relax, recharge yourself, create a bond with your co-workers, and so on, leading to an increase in productivity or new ideas along the way. I am lucky that I had some good friends who used to pull me out of my system for lunch or break, or otherwise I would have turned into a zombie. So don't leave it. Cherish those moments and enjoy your time at work. We hope all the tips given in this video were useful for you. If you are interested in learning more, visit timecampus.com today.